Hello Curious and welcome back. Once again, it seems that there is trouble in the world of women's tennis. The tournament season is in full swing and the players are getting ready for Wimbledon, but already there is a lot of noise around it. In the past within the sport, there had been racial issues as well as problems surrounding women losing their ranking if taking a break from the sport due to an injury or because they were having a child. And while at the time efforts were made to correct that, it seems the big issue surrounding the sport, though not only for women, is mental health. This time, the fight had been headlined by none other than 23-year-old Naomi Osaka, who has previously made the decision to withdraw from the French Open amid a fine and controversy, and now she will not be present at Wimbledon. Though Osaka has recently become more and more known for her activism, often using her position on the court as well as a famous person to speak about social issues. What exactly had led Naomi to make the decision to withdraw from the tournament? Why was she fined a hefty sum at Roland Garros? Why have some criticised her? And have her problems with the press played a role in her withdrawing from Wimbledon? Stay with us until the end to find out all about the recent media hassle starring Osaka, but before we continue, don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. When it comes to sporting events, or any competitions for the matter, afterward there usually is some sort of a press conference where people get to gush over the winner, ask them questions, as well as the runner-up or the other participants. It is no different in tennis, though the players who lose needing to be present at them and answer questions seem to have been the root of all this problem that in turn had led to the world press to talk about Naomi Osaka. So if you have no idea what we're talking about, then make sure to stay with us to find out exactly what has been going on. And if you want to know more about Naomi and her beginnings in the sport, make sure to check out our previous video, the link to which is currently being displayed above. For now though, Curious, let us start with what went down with Osaka a few weeks ago. The whole controversy, if you will, started towards the end of May, when the tennis superstar Naomi Osaka had announced that she was taking a break from speaking to the reporters at the French Open. Doing so, she had highlighted that it's time for the media to focus on the mental well-being of athletes. She had also said that it can create self-doubt for players who have to answer questions after a loss. The second-ranked player in the world took to her Twitter account to share an explanation with her supporters by saying, "I've often felt that people have no regard for athletes' mental health, and this rings very true whenever I see a press conference or partake in one. I've watched many clips of athletes breaking down after a loss in the press room, and I know you have as well. I believe that whole situation is kicking a person while they're down, and I don't understand the reason behind it." She also highlighted that this decision is nothing against Roland Garros or the journalist that she has gotten to know over the years. She even took this a step further and said that this is a decision she was willing to make even if she will be punished for her actions. When it comes to the losing player having to take part in a conference and finding it difficult to deal with emotionally is something that not only Osaka went through herself, but also something that she had witnessed firsthand. And such a moment had occurred a few months ago when she had defeated Serena Williams during their match at the Australian Open. It seemed that everything had been so overwhelming for the athlete as she abruptly ended the press conference. But what had exactly happened that caused this reaction? At first she was asked about whether she was retiring, and when she answered the question a moment later, she was asked about the unusual amount of unforced errors, which she had committed during her match with Naomi, asking if she was injured or if she had a bad day. Before she replied, she had taken a sip of water and it was clear that she was trying to fight back tears. With a shaking hand, Serena had finally replied, "I don't know," before standing up and announcing that she was done with the conference and walking out. And while at the time many had slammed Williams for her decision to walk off, this is exactly the kind of pressure and emotions that Naomi was talking about. And while Osaka is fighting for the change so that the losing players won't have to attend these conferences and that for more light to be shed on athletes' mental health, why not check out our previous video to see what Williams had fought for where rules of women's tennis are concerned, and you can do so by clicking on the link above. But for now, make sure to stay with us until the very end to find out what could have caused Naomi to withdraw from further tournaments. But going back to the 23-year-old, it seems that she had almost prophesied that what would happen next, as only a few days after she had made her initial statements, she was hit with a hefty fine for skipping the press conference after her opening round win against Patricia Maria Tig. However, it looks like Naomi isn't too bothered about the fact that the French Open officials had handed her a fine in the sum of $15,000, and instead she took to Twitter to send a somewhat cryptic message that could have been directed at the people in charge of these tournaments, talking about how change is difficult. In a social media post, she wrote, "Anger is the lack of understanding. Change makes people uncomfortable. Many had pointed out that this was quite the gamble for Naomi, as the organisers had stated that if she continued to blow off the press conference as well as questions from journalists after a match, she could risk to have more fines heading her way and eventually being disqualified from the French Open altogether. And if that wasn't enough, she was also threatened with the possibility of being suspended from other future Grand Slam tournaments. So clearly, there is a lot at stake here with her decision. But curious, it seems that this young lady stood by her decision and fought for what is important to her and most certainly many other athletes, not only in tennis but in the world of sport as a whole. And in order to show that she was being serious about her thoughts on the situation, she decided to withdraw from the French Open and take some time away from the court rather than continue to be a distraction from her stance against speaking to the press. The 23-year-old stated that she never intended to start a controversy when she had cited mental health for skipping a conference, but she added that she believes the best thing for her to do now is to quit the tournament so everyone can get back to focusing on the tennis going on in Paris. Sharing her explanation to her social media, Osaka explained that she had suffered long bouts of depression since the 2018 US Open and that she has had a very difficult time dealing with that. On top of this, she also added that she is an introvert and suffers from social anxiety, which gets worse when she has to speak in front of the world's press, which surely would not have been helped with her mental well-being. While there had been some criticism that headed her way, more on which we will talk about in a moment, it seems that under her post about withdrawing on her Instagram, many other athletes had taken to the comments on her post to voice their support. One of them was Venus Williams, who wrote, "So proud of you, take care of yourself and see you back winning soon." Sloane Stephens also voiced her support, as did sprinter Usain Bolt. Many other Japanese athletes were also quick to voice their support for Naomi, such as Yoshito Nishioka, who stated that it was sad to see her withdraw from the competition. Polish tennis star Iga Świątek has also touched upon the issue of the pressure from the press by saying, "Having a good relation can help you. If I have a problem with something, I'm going to tell you that I'm not comfortable talking with that." If you want to know more about the 20-year-old Polish tennis player, you can check out our previous video by clicking on the link above. Toshihisa Tsuyachi, the executive director of the Japan Tennis Association, was quick to offer words of support for the 23-year-old. "The first thing to be considered is Miss Osaka's health. I wish her the earliest possible recovery." One of her sponsors, Nissin Foods, who had helped bring Naomi's earnings to $55.2 million over the past 12 months, had also voiced their support by saying, "Above everything else, we wish for Miss Naomi Osaka's quickest recovery and hope she will continue to perform well." So all in all, most were quick to support Naomi, but also there were those that didn't have nice things to say, such as British presenter Piers Morgan. Taking to his Twitter account, he posted that he was writing a piece for his column in the Daily Mail about world sport most petulant little madam. He also followed this later with a post that included a link to the article and the caption, "Cynical exploitation of mental health to silence the media is right from the Meghan and Harry playbook of wanting their press cake and eating it." But for the most part, there had not been much criticism. Many had also pointed out that while Osaka might be the face of the Tokyo Olympics, which are set to be held next month, no one would blame her if she had made the decision to withdraw from that event in the year of her mental health. Though in a recent statement from her agent Stuart Dudgett, he talked about this. She will be ready for the Olympics and is excited to play in front of her home fans. The 23-year-old took to social media to thank her supporters with a simple message on her Instagram stories which read, "Just want to say thank you for all the love. Haven't been on my phone much, but I wanted to hop on here and tell you that I really appreciate it." And while following her break from the French Open, many had expected Osaka to return to the courts for Wimbledon more ready than ever. It seems to not be the case. On Thursday, 17th of June, Naomi's agent had issued a statement saying that she will not be playing at Wimbledon this year as she is taking some personal time with friends and family. No further comment was given, besides the fact that she will be back for the Olympics, and it had left many speculating what had happened, with many fans suggesting that just like she had problems with her mental health in 2018, the situation with the journalist Sir Roland Garros and the media scrutiny proved to be too much for her and she suffered another breakdown, thus needing to take time off. Other internet users seem to suggest that this could be further punishment for her actions, but an issue like that would have likely resulted in more publicity. It is also unclear at the moment if her fight against reporters had played a factor in this decision. I'm so curious, what are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think the media scrutiny about her war against journalists caused her to have a mental breakdown as fans suggest? Do you think that she could also pull out of the remaining tournaments and possibly even the Olympics? And in your opinion, could this result in issues in her career sometime down the line? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.